I was going to ask what your response was because he predicted what your response would be.
I think he's the best DB coach in the world. But I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to kind of comprehend that compliment. So I guess I'll just leave it at that.
How are you guys doing?
Really good. I think that we're all eager at this point to see a different opponent besides our own defense. But it's been really good work. It's a hot, humid day today. But they're doing well. I think it's amazing to see the maturation through the beginning of the camp towards the end, both from a leadership standpoint and a young guy growing standpoint. All those things are happening, and it's been good to see.
Hey Brian, you've been at Ohio State as a player and coach, and you've seen a lot of great receivers come through here. I think, especially with the offensive skill positions, it feels like some of the greatest players in Ohio State history were great from the beginning, as true freshmen. When you talk about a guy like Chris, to see the sparks that he made as a true freshman, how typical is that? And is that ever an indication of how good someone's going to be by what they do in their freshman year?
I think it's encouraging. I think that, I always tell these guys, I'm like, when you can go out and have a really good freshman year, guess what you got to do the next year? Be really good again. And then if you have a really good year again, then maybe you can, continue to chase your dream. But we take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 year at a time. And I think that, again, having success is encouraging. It helps motivate probably the inner self and know that all the hard work you're putting in is paying off. And again, once you kind of see that fruits of your labor, it's probably pretty motivating. But it goes for anybody. And I think that anytime you start to kind of feel that the work showing up on Saturdays or during the week, it can kind of remotivate guys. So hopefully a lot of guys are feeling that way, and hopefully they're feeling themselves getting better, even if at different degrees, which is fine. Throughout camp.
Brian, I know that you were excited about your guys after the end of spring ball. What have they shown you in camp that I'm assuming makes you more encouraged?
Yeah, I think it's just the continual growth that we've talked about. I mean, we don't focus on, getting there, the next day. We understand it's going to grow. We understand coming through camp is a checkpoint. It's not the end of the race, and frankly, you're never really ending the end of the race. So. We understand that week 1 we can't look the same week 12, and if we are, then we didn't get better, and other teams and other opponents and other receiver units probably caught us. So I feel like we're doing a really good job, but we're only as good as our last practice. We're only as good as our last game, and we're never going to lose that mindset.
You guys want to go 6 deep, I know. How close are you to being 6 deep right now?
I know I haven't sat down and thought about that yet. I'm sure I'm not the only person been helping with that decision, but I think that I feel really excited about the opportunity to probably have a good amount of guys playing on Saturdays for sure.
Brian, how does your front line talent from a year ago compare with the 4 or 5 or 6 that you'll put out there?
I think just like every year, we get caught up in the past, and of course the past is always better than it probably maybe was, and then next year's gonna be even better. The grass is always greener. So just trying to live in the present. I think talking about the present, can we be better? I don't know. I mean, in the end, we'll be a different group, and we'll be a different team. And will the team be better? You never know. But I think that, different doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just going to be a different approach. It's going to be a different season, different challenges. And I think we have our mindset that way we're going to put our stamp on 2019 from our group this year.
How is the deep defensive back room making this receiver group better?
Oh, that's huge. I think that's probably been understated. I think that the DBs we have on this football team are probably some of the best in the country, definitely as a group at least. I mean, I can't go, person by person, but as a group, very elite. They've gone to a whole other level, and I'm really excited to see them play come 2 weeks.
Do you have to keep that in mind as you're evaluating guys, that you're going, what a guy might have graded in a different year could change based on just who he's going up against?
Yeah, I think that it's more about the understanding of the opportunity we have. I mean, in the end, when maybe a scout comes in, or iron sharpens iron, but even when, after the season's over, and the best film we're going to maybe have, you just never know, could be the defense we're going against. I know in retrospect we've said that about past years, that this year could be one of those years where the defensive backs we see on day in and day out could maybe be the best we face all year. I don't know that, but I think it's got a chance that this could be one of those years.
Brian, C.J. Saunders was elected a captain. What's he all about? You've been around here almost.
Yeah, C.J., he's a phenomenal young man. I think that, the way he started and seeing where he was at, coming from Dublin and taking the opportunity and turning it into a scholarship and then into captain, I don't know. It's probably pretty unprecedented. I mean, as far as it comes to, his path, it's phenomenal. He adds great depth to our room. He's a warrior. He's a machine. Like when I need a guy, he's always that guy, and I'm feel very confident when he's on the field. So now again, he's got to keep getting better. We got to put it on Saturday. We did a lot of things we still have to do, and he'll tell you that. But what a great young man in our group, and one of our seniors and captains.
In a nutshell, you personally, this time a year ago, I would think you were probably a mouse on a wheel. You know, you've been named.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about the difference.
Yeah. Give me the biggest difference between you compared to a year ago.
I think that's a good question. I would say that maybe a year ago, I was still playing catch up. I think I always kind of feel like I'm playing catch up, and I never, know enough or am doing enough. But I think last year might have been, maybe I don't want to say I've lost an edge. There's no edge lost, but definitely on pins and needles, probably a little more just being your first time than anything else. But again, I still feel like I'm not at a level where I want to be, and both for this players, the team, this university. So, I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I don't think I'm ever going to lose that.
So Brian, you kind of talked in the spring about, it seemed like you wanted to tap the brakes on the hype for Gary.
I think that I wasn't tapping any brakes on anybody. I think that it was just about, where we are in the year, that we got to focus on the unit. We're replacing, a bunch of seniors that did a lot of really good things, especially captains. And although, Garrett coming in, he has a great opportunity to play in his first year and earn some playing time. It was just more about the group, and it was more about not individuals. And I think Garrett's done a phenomenal job growing, maturating, and taking coaching. So the growth has been really good, and I'm really happy with it. And again, like we said, especially for a young guy like that, we're not even close to scratching the surface on where we want to be. So, but I can't say enough positive things about the way he's going about his business and the way he's willing to grow day in and day out.
When a guy makes a play like that in the spring game, though, and that sort of gets everybody talking, did you have to manage?
No, I just pointed out how he lost leverage and it was a bad stem and it wasn't a good route. And everyone else was talking about how it was a good play, and it was a good play.
Okay.
But again, we're not focusing on the pat on the backs and the attaboys. We're focusing on the things that we have to clean up, so we know that we are a Ohio State starting receiver, and that's the mindset. And once you do earn that opportunity, I want to make sure every day you bring it every day, because it's not out of respect necessarily even for the room of the current guys, but it's for the Chris Carters and the San Antonio Holmes and Joey Gallaways, where they know the guys that are on the field, they're well worthy of playing hard, playing good football, and playing Buckeye football.
Is he going to be in the rotation? Is he going to? What's your sense right now, almost 3 weeks into this?
I think that at this point, he's doing a great job. He's going to have an opportunity to continue to grow not only as a player, but also the opportunities on Saturday. But I would say that I think Garrett Wilson will definitely be adding depth when it comes to Saturday. We'll see where the path goes through his freshman year. But like I said, he's doing a great job. The room is really healthy. And I think, again, we're going to continue to groom a good, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that can roll. And I'm sure he'll be one of those groups.
Brian, being an assistant or a coach on a staff where the recruiting class that you guys have is 90 to 95% full in August, what does that do?
I don't know. It's my first time. I think that, what does that do with a full class? I think that, it just says a lot about the belief in Coach Day. I think it says a lot about the communication, and really I think what's happening is the recruiting cycle and the recruiting process is getting bumped up, and I think that it's just speeding everything up, and guys having opportunities to maybe be on a class and not be in a class, and I don't really know what to make of it, but I think overall we've got a great group of guys that want to be a part of it.
But for your specific situation, it's interesting because you have, I think, all your receivers committed. Most people have their entire. Does it allow you to spend a few months going after luxury guys like 5-star kids that might not fill a need, but just are? Do you see what I'm getting at?
No, I don't think so. I mean, for me, it's just about we identified some of the best guys that we really like, and I really like, and I'm it's not about the grass is greener. Everything's great. I guess I don't really know. I mean, at this point,
But what do you
very
do?
happy. We're good.
If you got everybody in the class now, what do you do? I know you have
next year. Never early enough. It's never early enough. So just moving on, and evaluating, and trying to connect with coaches and teams alike. So.
Hey, Brian, what is it that you communicate to your guys regarding leadership? That you've managed to have 5 captains from your position group over 2 years, and it's a position that is supposed to be a bunch of flaky divas.
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's been a special run, and I think that the only thing I could take from this run we've had in our room, it's very honoring for our room, but to make sure we understand that's the standard. So if that goes away, then shame on me and shame on what we have going on in our room and everything too. So it's kind of, I guess, our own little competition without us really meaning to be. But it's very honorable that we can honor the captains and be representative of the captains. But I think it says more about just the young men we have in that room, and the young men hopefully we look forward to bringing in year after year.
So not to overstate it, but less than 2 or 3 captains next year will be a disappointment.
I think there's an eligibility certain part to it all. But no, I think that we talk about it, we're honored by it, and hopefully once you're in that role, you make sure that your teammates were correct with selecting you and holding up your end of the bargain. So.
I know that Jalen Gill, Jalen Harris are a couple of guys who've been trying to get in that rotation. Just what have you seen from them in this camp so far?
I think that going through each guy, it's a blessing, because I can honestly say this is the best each one has been. Every single person has grown, has gotten better. Jay Gill, Jay Harris, the same way. Like this is the best I've ever seen them. So. As we go through, Saturdays, as things evolve, as growth happens, and hopefully not injuries, you just don't know how everything's going to shape up. And frankly, that's kind of how, we lose Austin last year, and Chris gets an opportunity, and then that's how things happen. So these guys are ready to go. They are, the best I've seen them. And then, however the opportunity arises, and then dictates the rest of it on Saturday. I can't foresee, but I think I am very, very happy with where all these guys have been.
Are you think between Garrett and Jalen Harris, Jalen Gill, CJ Saunders, are those guys really close right now? Is there still a battle?
It's just they all play. It's all different positions. It's all different schemes. It's not about 1 through 7 count. That's not how we're kind of doing that. So we'll see how it shakes out. But right now, like I said, I'm really happy on where Jay Gill and where Jay Harris is at and how they're working, along with Elijah Gardner. So I'm excited about that whole group of guys.
Ben Victor's played a lot of football around here. What's different about him going into his senior year? What's better about him, Brian?
I think he stepped up his offseason. I think it's translating into the camp. I think he's in a position right now where, and if you'd ask him, he just needs to put it together on Saturdays. I think he does a lot of really good things. He's adding weight, still playing fast, catching the ball well. Everything's happening well. It's just transitioning from the practice film, putting it on game film, and playing for your team, and then doing that consistently. So I think he's done a great job putting himself in position to make these plays, and now it's just executing on Saturday.
What about KJ Hill? I know he's on the verge of breaking David Boston's career record for receptions. Yep. Just what stands out about KJ?
He's just a stud. I think that he just does a phenomenal job playing football. I think he understands zones. I think he's got some of the surest hands on the team, and we really lean on him. And again, him being a captain, you can kind of see that the guys have similar respect for him. He's a mainstay in our room, and I can't say enough about him. I think that he's a really good football player, and he's always in the right space. He attacks the football. He kicks with his hands. Does a lot of really good things. And as a blocker, he's improving. And today he had a really good day doing it. So I'm excited to see that growth, and then just putting it again on Saturday for the 3rd straight year. So he just is a really good football player.
I know injuries are a touchy subject around here, but what can you tell us about Austin Mack? Do you expect to have him back relatively soon?
So I'm not talking about injuries. Yeah. Coach Day will handle all of those. Right. But again, really encouraged with where the room's at.
We talked to Coach Day a couple days ago, and he ran through Garrett's at X right now, working there, and who's where. When you've got Austin Mack and Chris Olave at Z, and you've got these different body types playing the same position, what kind of an advantage does that give you guys against defenses?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think we got ourselves in position to, whether it be a certain block we may need with body types, or spatial awareness and how guys do different things, and if having different kind of skill sets. If you're a defense coordinator, kind of game planning for them, this guy only runs this kind of routes. This guy, I think it makes it a little more difficult. And I think that in the end, we do talk about having the best receivers on the field as much as possible and playing with diversity. But right now, I think that some guys are taking shape. Some guys are doing a really good job, and I think having multiple body styles or skill sets can really, provide a difference for the defense. In what capacity is probably a better Jeff Hafley question, but I think we found it very beneficial.
And then Garrett, what makes him? He doesn't seem like the prototypical X, in terms of his size. What makes you want to? What makes him capable of that?
I think that in anywhere in your growth as a receiver, to kind of just put a tag on somebody and say he can only do this, kind of hinders the player. Obviously, Austin Mack, Terry McLaurin, some other guys aren't doing that. I'm trying to get guys, hey, you can do it all. At the next level, you got to play everything. If you're just a a certain body type, you only do this, it's really hard, to last very long. So I kind of have that approach. I just feel like, a young guys, whether it be Jamison or Garrett, you got to learn them all. Where you end up and where you end up being a mainstay, who knows? But conceptually learning the receiver position, conceptually learning the plays is the most beneficial.
Thank you.
Thank you.